Okay. I was born in a place called Eldama Ravine in Rift Valley in 1933. I lived there with my parents. My father was a farm worker in a Mzungu farm. And when my grandfather died in 1942, it happened that he was now the firstborn left in the home. And traditionally, he was forced to resign from his work, and he took us all home in Nyanza game in Ugenya. So when we got there, I was about 7 years old or so, and we stayed there. First, I didn't even know the language very well. I saw a lot of happenings that were sometimes very scary, and traditional, events, and I caught up with it. I started to play with my little ones also there, and I learned the language. Now I was able to express myself, and I think around 45, 46, I went to school. I was taken to school, and the school was a very simple one. We had only one long classroom, and we didn't have much really. Our classroom and our books were on the ground floor, outside the classrooms. Each one in the corridor, we had our vitabus on the floor. So you arrange the stones around, and you wrote everything with your hand on the floor. And the teacher only marked them with a stick. If you had any sum wrong or answer wrong, for us girls, we were checkward on the left-hand side. One stick there. And that is how we started. So this went on, but I think the beauty of it was progress depended upon how sharp you are. We were not kept in classrooms for one whole year, or one class for a whole year. So in a few months, I was able to come from class 1 or pre-unit or whatever it was to standard 1, and then in 1 year I had finished two classes, standard 1 and 2. And we went on 1949, I think. I sat what you call common entrance examination. This was a national examination at standard 4. And I excelled, I passed. That is when we started actually now using a piece of paper with a pencil. Otherwise we had slates later on, and our classrooms were outside under the tree. That's all. So from there I moved to primary school, which now would be called intermediate primary school, which was near girls in standard 5. For 3 years I remained there, and that is where we did our KP, what you call these days KCP. I still cannot get it. Ours was KP, Kenya African, something like that. So from there, again I passed very well. I came to Alliance Girls School here in Kikuyu. That now again brought me back to Rift Valley and Central now. The climate was good for me, and I was very happy. And you asked a question at how come that early I was able to go to school. It was not easy. I was allowed to go to school on one condition, that every weekend I'll be herding my father's cattle, animals. Saturday and Sunday, I had to look after the animals, so that he gets time off to meet his colleagues. And I remember once I came back home. This was when I was in standard 4. I was number 1, and he asked me, "Did you get your report?" I say, "Yes, Baba." "Where is it?" I gave him. And I was number 1 out of 35. And he got up with a stick and he really chapped me well. And that week I was punished. I couldn't go to school. How can I get number 1 out of 35? That was a big mistake. So I was chapped and punished until the local pastor came and explained to my father that being number 1 meant a lot, and they were very proud of me. But my father wanted me to be number 29 or even get the whole of 35. Why leave it to somebody else? You are going to school just to play about. Others get number 30 and you are coming back here with 1. This number 1. Yes. Just wewe umepata report. Hii report ya nini? Why didn't you get even number 20? Yeah, at least. Yes. And the following week, I was not allowed to go to school. And I cried. But later on, my local pastor, Isaiah Musigai, came home on a bicycle and looked for me in the bundus huko na ng'ombe. And he said, "I want to see you and I want to see your dad." Then we went back and he told my father the importance of being number 1. And the way he explained it is that we had a local musician in the area, and he's always winning trophies. He was a blind man, and his choir always won, always got a trophy. Yeah, and when they were competing, they sang in a circle like this, and he was always leading his team. And so Mbogo was number 1. I can't remember, I can never forget his name. Mbogo was always number 1, and number 1 meant 1, a Jael in the law. So my father started to scratch his head and say, "Oh my God, that is what it was." And then he said, "Yes." So we want her back as quickly as possible, because the rest of the children are preparing for exams. And here she is. She's the only hope we have. If she's back, we know our school will do better. Yeah. So from that time, my father understood the meaning of being number 1. And he supported me fully now through my education up to secondary school and all along. So he got a lot of rebuke from his colleagues, and because I went to school, I was not very young. When I was coming to Alliance, already I was 18 years old. And according to the locals, all the girls aged 15, 16 were married off straight away. And so my father was committing a very big offense in the area by allowing me to continue going to school, even though I was already of marrying age. But he did not now care. He asked me if I wanted to continue, and I told him that I want to go to school. I want to go to school and finish all these schools or hear about. And he allowed me to do so. So that is how it went. And From there, I got married eventually, because in those days we only had 3 jobs for girls. If you are in a high school, you could be a teacher, or you go to nursing, and the third one was marriage. I tried nursing. I did not like teaching, but I could not bear the sick, so I left the hospital course. So now, poor Jael was to be married too. That is all. So, but even then, I got married. I did not stop my education. I went on, and in 1960 I went to America for my college education. Even after I had been married, I had 2 kids, but I decided that I wanted to go for my degree course, which I had not finished. And I came back in 1962, worked a bit in Tanzania with Nyerere when he was Prime Minister. I was his private secretary then. And because one of my daughters was very ill, I had to seek transfer to come back to Kenya, because we needed the services of Dr. Michael Wood. So from there, I remained here and caught up with the political class now. I caught up with the political class when I came back from Tanzania, because already Tanzania was independent now. And Nyerere was now the Prime Minister, and the following year they had full government now, republic. I came back really motivated. And by the way, when I went to America for the 2.5 years I remained there, it was the year J.F. Kennedy was campaigning. And my scholarship came through the League of Women Voters of the USA. They called me. They invited me. I won a contest. They had a competition which I won. And I was awarded a scholarship as well as a tour, a training tour for political campaigns. And I joined the Connecticut branch of the League of Women of USA. And we campaigned hard, very vigorously for J.F. Kennedy, and he won. And when I came back, he was still alive. He was now the president. So when I came back, we were also now getting ready here in Nairobi. Things were really hot. The Kikuyus and the Luos had ganged up to get independent Kenya. And we said it is independent today, if not today, it was yesterday. And that was the fight. Then we went fighting until we got independent. But even before that, before I came back and joined the political organization, KANU, I had been a councillor here in Nairobi, nominated by the colonials to represent the interests of the natives in the Eastlands. We called them the natives. We were the natives, not Africans, natives in the Eastlands. In those days, I was with Rubia. There was one, James Kasioka, and Amalemba from your area, and so on. So we were the first 6 or so councillors nominated to represent the interests of the Eastern group, which was the Kaloleni, Makongeni, Ngotela, and so on, Makadara and Bahati. That was the only place where, and of course Kariako, and so on. And we had somebody representing the interests of the sick people at King George VI Hospital, which is now Kenyatta National Hospital. So there I remained for 2 years before I went to America. As a councillor, I resigned Then I went off. When I came back, we demanded, I had 6 other women joined me to demand that maendeleo ya wanawake be led and run by the women of Kenya, African women of Kenya. And we took a delegation to the ministry, and maendeleo was surrendered to us. We were given 1 large table and an underwood typewriter and the constitution. That was all. And we came and started to work and established maendeleo in Kenya, maendeleo wanawake. At that time, we appointed Phoebe Asiyo as our president. But when independence came, this was before independence, when we took over maendeleo wanawake. When the independence came after 1963, Phoebe was appointed commissioner of women prisons in the Republic. So she had to resign from maendeleo wanawake, so I took over. I was Secretary General then, but I moved on. The women demanded that I take over the running of the organization. A responsibility I carried for over 10 years. As president, it was not chairman anymore. We were all presidents. President Mzee Jomo Kenyatta and President Jael Mbogo. What is wrong with that? And I remained there. I started to run maendeleo, and that is where I now discovered how much trouble we had with regard to uplifting the level and position of women in leadership in this country. Women were used as labor force by the colonials, and to get them out to even come for club meetings was a problem. And even if they did, they had children, babies on their backs, babies on their laps, and the woman did not have a chance to do anything at all, not even to improve her own lot, not even to earn a penny for herself, because the labor in the Mzungu farms was free because there was quotas. They were given little places to live in return for their labor. And once a week, they get what you call posho. Posho was unga, yeah, kilo mbili hivi, 2 kilos a family. And that is all the women were getting. So this annoyed me so much. And I went into researching and discussing and organizing women to wake up. I wanted them to get up and do something about this. And I was arrested many times, especially in Rift Valley. But eventually they understood what I was talking about. I organized so many clubs for women. I needed permission for them to attend club activities. In the clubs, we had adult literacy. I taught them how to read and write. We could knit, we could bake scones, cakes, do whatever. Do tapestry work and embroidery to beautify our houses and so on. And also I opened nursery schools for the babies, so that women are free to come to the club while the children are taken care of. This did not please the Mzungu, not at all. One particular woman called Mr. Pickford of Londiani ordered my arrest and arguments because they released me from the cell in Nakuru after a couple of days. The charge was that I was interfering with the smooth running of the farms, in Rift Valley by instigating women to leave work and attend clubs twice a week in those days. But I argued the case out, and later on, even that Pickford herself had a club in her own farm, where women attended the lectures and learned how to do a lot of things. So this actually is what motivated me and propelled me to the point that even after elections in 1963, which I missed by just chance, because there was an all-Africa Women Conference in Berlin, Germany, which I attended for 3 weeks. Me and Mudhoni Likimani, the two of us went for 3 weeks, for 3 months, 3 months. It was to educate us to know how to conduct ourselves as women leaders in a free, independent African nation. That was the topic. I came back. The nominations were on for elections in 1963, but KANU, as a party, we didn't have declared candidates as such. Candidates came after election, because when the votes were put together and merged that KANU had won, then the allocation of seats followed. And that is why people like Achieng' Oneko were posted to Nakuru North. Somebody was taken to Marsabit, and my boyfriend, my friend Kibaki, my friend Kibaki ended up in Bahati, where I was. So we didn't know for 6 years. The people of Bahati really did not know who was their representative, because there were no campaign, direct campaign. Ati hapa ni kwangu. Ati hii ni area yangu, sasa mimi naongea na watu yangu. That was never there in 1963. So after 1963, came the KPU and the delay in elections in 68. We went to elections in 1969, and I was a candidate now. That's the first time I said, this game, I'm not leaving it. I'm going in now in full force. And as if we had talked, we didn't even know one another. Wamboyo Tieno also declared her interest to contest in Langata and Westlands. Beatrice Kanini in Embu also picked Jeremiah Nyaga to wrestle with him. Beatrice is ni Kanini kweli. Lakini Jeremiah ni mrefu. Amemwangusha tu, lakini alinyang'anywa kama mimi. Then Onyango Grace in Kisumu also came up. We had not talked. By the way, Grace Onyango was my teacher at Mia Girls when I was there. So we campaigned, and Grace managed to come through. I lost, but not because I did not have enough votes. I won, but I was not given allowed to go to parliament because Mzee complained a lot that how can Kamutumia anachukua post ya finance minister yangu. Wewe Njoroge, angalia hiyo maneno vizuri sana. And we were chapward vizuri. We were really chapward. Yeah. Until after 4 days they declared Mwai Kibaki the winner, but he didn't. Even he knew. He knew that. Because we had a television program with him where a direct question was put to him, that how come after 4 days you emerged the winner? He said, I don't know how it happened. That's what he said. So again, 1974, again, I went back to Bahati. And that actually caused him now to go to a fire, because I told him, we want to repeat the game again. And this time, for sure, you are not seeing Parliament. And that is the time I was now removed from Maendeleo Wanawake, because it was felt that the influence I had on the women through Maendeleo leadership was playing something. So I was given option. If you don't step down for Kibaki, we are removing you from Maendeleo Wanawake organization, which was an NGO. I had to resign because I had a vision, I had a dream, and I had a commitment, and I knew what I was fighting for. At the end of the day was the women of Kenya to be liberated and to be emancipated. And nobody would do it, nobody understood it very well, except me. And I said, Maendeleo Wanawake post can go, anybody else can lead Maendeleo, but me, I'm going to open this door. The door of Parliament must be opened wide, very wide, for women also to walk in. We belong to the house, okay? But the House of Parliament is also a house. So what is the difference? So that is how I started. I'm jumping a lot. I'm not giving you all the details because it is, I want us to catch up time. So when you ask me what motivated me was the plight of women. And the fact that I was brought up in Rift Valley, and later on during the peak of emergency, I was living right here, across here. I saw it all. And the pain the women had remained with me for a long time. Out of the people who suffered during emergency, the women suffered most. And we started even the Dagoretti Children's Center from Alliance, where we used to collect children left alone in their homes, the parents either killed or arrested or detained, and we would pick up children every weekend. And we established the Dagoretti Children's Center here in Kikuyu. So I didn't know exactly at some time what all this meant. But looking back now, I cannot regret. What I did was not for personal glory. I don't go for such things. I was not looking for fame. I was not looking for being rich. I was not looking for anything, but I wanted to see that the place of Kenya woman is acknowledged, supported, and appreciated. You see, for the rest of my life, from there on, I've not had any big jobs in big companies. No, I remained a true servant of the Kenyan women. I recently resigned from the work, which again I started in 1993, the coalition, the Citizens Coalition for Constitutional Change, 4Cs. In 97, which you are talking about, you want to look at things from there. But together with the 1997, the 1992 also left a dent in us. When all the women candidates we prepared for elections that year did not make it through political party nominations. And that angered us so much. So about 30 of us went to Mount Kenya and we established the Education Center for Women in Democracy. That is where I worked for over 7 years. preparing the current cadre of women leadership, you see, because I headed the desk of support for women in public life, which was financed by the Westminster Foundation for all those 7 years. And each elections, I worked with 25 women at a time, preparing them, supporting them, educating them on how to go about establishing a successful campaign, electioneering campaign. I also supported their issue-based research. I employed researchers for them. We supported them even with finance during nominations and after nominations. And some of them now managed to go through. We have them, the records are there. And from there, like Cecil was one of them, and earlier on even Charity Rilu and Julio Jambo, I supported her all along. I went to campaign even for her. She was trembling, and Ochwada was very huge man, and I said, no, it is not that you, Julia, you are going to carry this man and put him down. It is the brain how we are going to manage this campaign. Ochwada will not see the votes. And Julia came through, you see. And Phoebe, when MYWO was killing her in Karachuonyo, I went and spent quite some time with her there campaigning. And I told the women that it is Phoebe, is not Okiki Amara. Okay? Because this house in Parliament is dirty and we need a broom, to go and sweep it and clean it. So the symbol of Phoebe was a broom. We went with the broom sweeping the barabaras, sweeping everywhere. And the women looked at me and said, I said, Phoebe is the one we are sending to Parliament so that she can go and clean those dirty corners, because men cannot clean a house nicely the way women do. And they got the message, you know. And because we were not allowed to do AA, it was very rough. So I told them, even men, I told them that we want to initiate a quiet campaign, a very quiet one. So I said, for men who support Phoebe, when you see her, don't say anything. Just adjust your jackets, and that is all. And for women, you just lift one arm this way, one arm that way. That is a woman. So what is the problem again? And Phoebe marched through. It was a by-election. She had won, and Okiki appealed, and Moi insisted Okiki is the one he wanted. So we knew that Phoebe could not make it. Even if it means rigging, they were going to rig. So I went there, and I told these people, give Phoebe a room, and ladies, at Aqua Market, when somebody's across the road, you just, hey, Nyanam, that is Phoebe. That is Phoebe. No talking. That is you. Okay, fine, we'll see you. You have campaigned for Phoebe. And the men, hello. Oh, Phoebe won. Yes. And she remained, how many years? 15? 3 times she was elected. So I say, I don't know, the next point you wanted me to talk about, I say I'm still committed up to this time. I am now retired from active political life. I don't go to rallies because I cannot run. I've been sick. I'm recovering from a very major operation. And because of that, I'm available here for whoever wants me to assist. I will always be delighted, because it's only God who graciously donated these few years now I have. Yeah. But in July 2013, 2013 I was 80 years old. So I said, enough is enough. Now I must leave the offices for the young digital girls like you people to continue. But me, I sit back. I am like a resource center now. I am like a library where you come to dig out whatever is not available for you wherever you are. And if you want to know something about ABCD, I am here. I'm now the custodian. So I left my work at Forces. I took over as chairman. I was chairman all along, but when our executive director resigned abruptly, I had to take over the management of the organization until we recruited a new executive director. Then I left. I handed over and came back here. So now I undertake some consultative work, or I participate as and when necessary, but it's not on a full-time basis. Yeah. My desire now is to mentor the young ones, young upcoming women leaders who want to join the race, who want to join the fight, because this is a continuous thing. We come and we go. Like one day, Toet was asked to give a speech and to hand over an organization he was leading. And that evening he came dressed up nicely as usual with his jacket and a lasso hanging behind him and coffee, and he said, "Leaders come and leaders go. I came, I am now going. And so is the person who is coming. He will also go. So leaders come and leaders go. If we know that, there is no crime, there is no pressure, there is no anger, there is nothing. Because we must accept that when our time comes, we must hand over the baton, pass it on to the next person to continue. So, unless you remind me what I enforces specifically, we were fighting for the new constitution. And when the new constitution was inaugurated in 2010, it was after almost 20 years of struggle in Forces. We are the first organization to come up with the idea that the Kenyan constitution needs to be reviewed. And we needed a new constitution. We came up with a mock constitution, which we called the Kenya Tuitakayo. The Kenya Tuitakayo. That was the title of that constitution, and it was a draft constitution. But we worked for it endlessly at all levels until 2010 it was achieved. Now even the Forces changed name. We now became a Citizens Coalition for Constitutional Culture, not change. Constitutional culture. That is what is now available. The change went because we have already gotten a new constitution. But the organization now stood for people to practice living the constitutional way. Okay? Where I made a lot of impact is with the ECWD. There we identified women potential leaders, we empowered them, we educated them politically, and we supported them. And we also ran a training program lasting 3 years for those who are interested in contesting elective positions. And those who graduated are the ones who went forward to claim nominations in various political parties. Yeah. So I think I did my part. If I did not visit and enroll all the women, it was not meant so, because as I said, the baton must be passed to the next person. Yeah, you reach a point where you feel, sasa, pade, let me now look back and appreciate what I've been able to contribute. But I think I can claim to be a pioneer, and it was hard. We were called names, including being mad women. Some women were beaten when they were in association with me. Their husbands were very, very vicious. Ulikuwa na yule mama yule kichwa mbaya yule mwendazimu ati anataka kwenda parliament hapana kwa wanawake. Where have you been? So even in Maendeleo, I used to carry these women home, and I'm the one to gonga the gate, say, hey, Baba Salim, nimelete Mama Fatuma. Mama Fatuma iko na mimi. Oh, mulikuwa pamoja na yeye? Nasema, yes, I'm the one who was holding her. We had a late meeting today. Kindly open the gate, and they will do it. They had developed trust in me. So when I was with their wives, they knew they were in good hands. But some didn't believe it. They thought I was there giving their women fitina to run away, to go and be politicians like men. But I say, women also are leaders. We are leaders per se. In the homes where we are kept by these men, our sons, we are also leaders, because when they come back home, food is ready, the house is clean, the children are happy. And who can do that if you are not a leader? That is leadership quality in a very, very big way. So I did what I could. There is still a lot to be done. So I think we are not doing badly at all. Yeah. Except a lot of work still remains to be done. Even the coming general elections, I'm a bit worried, because I don't hear the women. I don't know whether they are organizing behind the scenes, but so far they are a bit quiet for my liking. I see women in Mombasa vocal. In the middle here, I hardly see you, my ladies. Back at home this time, we had only one woman, Jimili Odiano, elected in the whole of Nyanza region. That is not good. You remember we had Grace Ogot, we had Grace Onyango, we had, you know, those people. We had Phoebe Asiyo. And this last election, which went 2013, only Millie Odhiambo scraped through. I don't know Western Province if we had any woman. Did we? No. In Kisii? No. At the local level, MCAs and so on, we had enough. At the women reps, we got, because that was specially now set up for them.
Not enough.
But direct election, where you have a voice, that is what matters. Yes. Me, I would have been nominated many times and long time ago, but I refused deliberately, because I wanted to stand in the House of Parliament and speak out my voice. Not that I'm nominated and I'm just there to clap and I'm there to vote as directed. Yeah? I wanted to have my own views. But if that did not happen, I don't regret it, because we've had very vocal and very strong women in parliament ever since that time. And that could not have come out if a few of us did not put our right leg out and stepped out of the door to say that we are going political. Effect. Now, if you are talking about the gender issue, the 30% or the whatever, there was a time we went for party elections at Limuru, and Ford Kenya had started this 30% long time ago. And we were electing women to join the council. And during the voting, a woman's post was due from Western Province, and there was no woman. And Martin Shikuku came and said, I'm representing the women of Western Province. Then we asked him to go back into the dressing room. We have a spare skirt. You go and wear it and come into the hall wearing a woman's skirt. That could not happen, but that is how serious the issue is. That in certain cases, men will wear skirts inside and wear trousers outside and claim to represent the interests of us. It cannot be. We have to claim what is due to us ourselves, because it is only a woman who knows where the shoe pinches. Yeah, it's the wearer of the shoe who knows where it is pinching. And I want to see a lot more voice, a lot more vigor from the women coming up. I'm saddened because some of the very beautiful organizations we had started, which by this time would really be way out there, soliciting funds, supporting women, starting foundations to finance women's political agenda, always come to fall because of corruption. Corruption is a serious matter. It's not just in government, it's not just in private sector, it's not that in the institutions, but even among our own women organizations, NGOs, you find pockets of corrupt individuals. And these are the people who are killing us, killing our efforts, killing our dreams, killing our initiatives to move forward. I still believe that there is a lot of room for serious organizations to come up, or an organization to come up and get the women together and ask them to work as a team. It's not a competition. We should not compete with one another. We should try to complement one another in whatever way and whatever efforts we are trying to do. This is the only way to achieve our goals. Our goals, I said, there is no reason why Kenya should not have a woman president. It's not just a dream. It is something which is realistic, which is achievable. The only thing is proper planning. Proper planning and unity of purpose. All this mambo jambo we have will end with the woman's leadership here. Because you see what has happened in Ghana. Ghana is now an example in the whole of Africa and the whole world, isn't it? And only because the woman who is leading Ghana has put everything straight. You don't wonder about here and there beating about the bush. She will tell you, stop that nonsense, we want to go there and the road is here, let us go. Simple. So I want to see a situation where one of these days, if I'm still alive, mine I'm living on borrowed time. Seriously. Borrowed time, because my health is not what it used to be before. But the few days, the few hours, the few years, these few months, God still grants me. There is a purpose for it. And that's why when you called, or who called me? Akinyi called me. I told her, I am here for you. The only thing I couldn't do is to come to town because I stopped driving for a while. I was having a Land Rover like that one here all these years, but now I can't drive it anymore because of my health situation. But this place, you are welcome. The gate is open.
Thank you.
Okay. Another area you talked about, can you remind me?
I talked about the affirmative action within the political parties.
Affirmative action within the political parties is seriously missing. Why? Because when it comes to nominations, usually men carry money in the baskets. And for women, the only letdown we have is our economic status, which always remains low. When I was with ECWD, I was advocating for launching a foundation to support women in political life. A foundation which will be there, give them money, give them ideas, publish whatever, produce materials for them, do research for issues in the areas. Because, you know, the difference between women leadership and men leadership, I'm sorry to say this, women prefer to talk about issues. Men, propaganda and chest, thoraxis campaigns, where you just go and beat your thorax that this is me and I want to lead you. That should never have arisen. In my view of leadership, I was expecting a situation where Kenya will reach a stage where you don't go and offer yourself as a candidate. The delegations which live with you should come to this house and tell me, Mama, dress up, we are taking you to a rally where you are going to be nominated our leader. Because they have understood, they have watched you, they have gathered all information about you, they found you to be the right person to talk or to speak on their behalf. But where you go with briefcases full of money and you pour money to the would-be supporters, that is wrong. To me, that is wrong. And even if I did not kanyaga parliament, even once, the reason why is that I did not want to impose my leadership on anybody. Even when I stood in 1969, it is the people of Eastlands who came to get me from my house in Parklands and say, Madam, we want you. Wewe ndio tunakuitaka. We know you, you've been with us here, you've worked for us, and we need that leadership of yours. Even in 74, I repeated again. But when such a thing happens, the issue of money will die. The issue of bribing voters will be history. Because you are going there, not because you have a lot of money, or you have monopoly of knowledge, but what you are, what you have done, how they know you, leads the way for you to obtain or to be elected in that position. This is too superior. This idea of mine is too far-fetched. And I have earned many enemies than friends because of the standpoint I take. That I don't want to go out and ask people, ati mimi nimekuja hapa, mimi nataka kuwaongoza. Who are you to ongoza them? They are the ones who should tell you that among us here, you are the one, the person we feel can represent our views. Then there will be no question of paying them. There's no question of buying them. There's no question of buying their votes. Because they have invited you to be their representative. When will that happen?
That's the big question.
Completely. Now, corruption is everywhere in Kenya. We say even the insects are corrupt. Hata inzi unaona hapa kwa doo yangu iko na corruption. Corruption is so deep, and it started in a very small way. It started in a very small way. But now it is eating billions. Paka Kenya. Have you ever had a country where doctors are in prison? Umesikia nchi ile nachukua daktari yake anaweka kwa jela na watu nakufa kwa hospitali? Wakati ya ukoloni, doctors were never allowed to go on strike because they were doing essential service. Essential services, police, as doctors were never allowed to strike because of the job, the kind of profession they were in. It is immoral to let your doctor strike. Alafu unasema ati mimi natakaga kura. Kura ya mtu amekufa atafaidiwe? That is the simple question. Unaweka kila kitu chini, you sit down with the doctors, sort them out in the first place. Kata kama ni mbaya, kama ni mzuri, waende waifanye kazi ile tuliwawekea. Na tena doctors, they are the only people who stay in universities for 7 years. Unasikia? Si mchezo. Ukiwa na dokta amekaa kwa university kwa miaka 7, alafu atoke aende kwa jela. Sana. Yeah? It's ridiculous. I've never had anything like that. I've traveled far and wide. Hii dunia hii nimeenda around 3 times. Wala ya. Natoka hapa South Africa, sijui mimi najuaga ati iko hapa chini. Kwenda huko Australia, hapa iko India, Britain iko pale, naruka naenda America, naenda paka San Francisco huko chini tena narudi Rivers, narudi tena nirudi Kenya. Wakati nilikuwa nafanya kazi na makanisa. Nimeenda hii dunia round many times, and I've never come across a situation where in a country doctors go on strike for 72 days, and at the end their leaders are jailed, put in jail. Ngai munene. Si Mungu atusaidie. Hiyo ni mbaya sana. Mimi nimestuka na nimejiuliza maswali mengi sana, lakini I hope somebody will come up with some solution so that these doctors go back to work. Manake sasa, without doctors you wouldn't have found me here.
That's true.
2015 I underwent a major surgery. Okay, which took nearly 20 hours. And doctors told me, are you sure at your age you are going to make it? Mimi nikamwambia yeye daktari, wacha kuangalia age yangu. I am only 18 years old. Okay? Mimi ni mgonjwa. mi nataka unisaidie. I want you to help me. So don't spend a lot of time worrying about how old I am. Nitaamuka, I won't let you down. Sure, I won't. God forbid, I will come out of that surgery. Then he said, okay, I'm going to convince my colleagues. I will convince my colleagues because you are so positive about you waking up. I will let them, we will carry out the surgery because they wanted to put me through chemo. I told them, no, chemo for me, radio, whatever, out. I don't want to touch them because I know the side effects. So critical at my age. I won't even last 5 sessions. So I told him I don't want that. Only thing myself and my children we agree is surgery. Now hiyo surgery, I have enough blood, I'm strong spiritually, physically pia niko na nguvu, na utachinja, utatoa kila kitu na mimi nitaamuka. Tena ni nini? So I know that I still have another job to do. What I'd love to do myself now, I wanted to have a situation where I can have just once a week or twice a week, twice a month, a place where I just go and talk to the young ones. Particularly mentorship. That's what I miss. I have had students here with me, 3 girls. One was with me here for 11 years. She was an orphan. She's now in Form 2. One has finished Form 4. The other one is sitting this year. And this one is also an orphan. I'm assisting her while she's looking after me. So I find a lot of strength and energy in the young people. And I would like to see them grow up, take their positions, take their pursue their goals and get to their objectives or realize their dreams. They just need a little bit of guidance here and there. And what they really lack is how to look after themselves. Because majority of them get messed up because nobody's there to teach them. Nobody's there to look. Me, I grew up after we had come back from Eldama in the hands of my grandmother. For 10 years, I was living with her. And the teachings she gave me have helped me throughout my life. Not a single day do I forget to even refer back to her. All the time, because she was such an amazing woman. She did not go to school, but her school was the best for me. My grandmother's school was first class. We were 18 of us, and the way she grilled us, she brought us up. She could take any question at any time. Ask her any stupid question, she will answer you. She will give you the answer. So I long for that. I hope to be discharged. Once I'm discharged, that will give me a longer period to do certain things. Because right now I've been going back every 3 months. Every 3 months. Only this last time they gave me 6 months. And they want to see if by the time I go back, my status is as good as they saw it last time. If it is good, they will give me a clear certificate or a bit of yeah. So,
thank you so much for that informative discussion. And your political party was DP.
No.
Which one was it?
DP alafu tuwe na Mwai Kibaki.
No, just a moment. Sorry for...
Our gender responsive was called Kenya.
That is what I was telling you. That all along we were together. But when it came to nomination time, the women are just left outside in the veranda.
Because it was not, there were no policies in the political, in the manifestos and also the political
Manifesto
parties.
was the best manifesto we had was in Ford Kenya.
I think I read
But
something like
when it came to nominations, I'll tell you one thing. I was ready to contest Mbakazi in 202. Yeah, 202. This was after Section 2A, isn't it? And you know, I was the national organizing secretary for the Kenya. And I had done so much. I went throughout the country establishing offices, for establishing branch offices in the whole of Kenya. But when it came to nomination, Mzee called me and said, if you go to run in Mbakazi, I had campaigned there vigorously, and the ground was just Jael.
Yes.
The job I want you to do is to run the elections from the office. You know my heart. And I said, why? He said, I want Wayaki, Dr. Wayaki to stand Munywa Wayaki to stand in Mbakazi. And me, if you leave this office, the elections will not be okay. Because I know you, I know your energy, I know your organizational ability. I want you to be here to make sure that we post candidates in all the 221 constituencies. I looked at him and he's somebody I respect so much. I said, okay, I'll do it. And I did. I was sleeping in the office on a table like that. I had a hotline. I organized, I nominated 165 candidates in that year across the spectrum. And I took Nani, Orierogo, by force to stand in Stare. And the first rally, you know what? She came in a mini. I told her, with high heels, the Kenya. I said, Madam, anybody with a lasso, anybody with a lasso. Yeah, but she was a good candidate. She came second. My goodness me. What? Mzee told me, ati huwezi kupata candidates wawili kwa Nairobi. Nasema I've got only 6. But Stare and Westlands, I can't get anybody. You are going to find a candidate. Mimi nikapata Oriero. Come on here. Sign here. Twende kwa rally. Oriero. Then another one. Wanjuguna also is a coffee grower. I took him to Westland. Mnacheza na mimi. Wewe nasimama huko. I brought back the list to Mzee. All 8 are in order. All the 8 seats are order. Oh, mama yangu. But the political parties have to do better. There is a lot of discrimination and undermining as far as women candidates are concerned. Women must fight hard to be in leadership position in political parties. Because if you are in the hierarchy, juu wataona aibu kuacha wewe. You get me? Kama ni vice chairman, wewe enda weka kichwa yako kaa hapo. Wewe ndio vice chair. Wewe ndio secretary general. Wewe ndio organizing secretary. Alafu women will find space in political parties. Lakini kubi members ile napiga tu mdomo na mkono 1 2 3 hey 1 no, you don't get it.
Yes, true.
That is my advice to women. It is true political parties have not embraced the women leadership properly. And hiyo maneno ya gender balance is not coming nicely
in political parties.
We need to emphasize more, and particularly my advice to women, they should seek leadership positions within the political parties they belong to. They should not just be mere members. Participate in the party elections, party reorganization, party recruitment, mpaka waone wameshika kiti ile muhimu kwa chama. Where they have a voice. You start from the political party. But as it is today, I don't see much of it.
So moving forward, political party is one of the opportunities that you see women can strategize within the political party.
Yes, yeah.
Which other opportunity do you see for women to be able to come up into leadership?
Well, there was a time we were talking of women's political parties, and I saw one which I studied very well, that is the Labour Party of Kenya, which is led by Julia Jambo. But half of the time it is dead, only comes up during elections. That is not good enough. Alafu ingine siko na Ngilu. Na what about Martha Karua? Wavinya Ndeti, Martha Karua. Alafu sasa pia huko ninaona Mrs. Akumu, Dennis. Iko na hii sijui ni Congress, sijui ni nini.
Mrs. Akumu.
Dennis. Grace. Iko na party huko juu, huko Nyanza. Mi naona hizo. Lakini even them, Martha Karua, na ni wakina Honorable Ngilu, they should have also come together to bargain. They should all also form their coalition. Nasikia. They form a coalition of women-led political parties. Then when they go to these mainstream parties, the big ones, they have to bargain. Because now we are so and so, we are controlling this. Hata sisi tunakuunga tutaungana na nyinyi kama hii mguu hii ndio nawashia sisi. Because this is a matter of bargaining.
Okay.
Yeah. We thought about having all women political parties, but it does not work very well. Sasa ile ya Julia si Amamba amechukua.
That's what I wanted to say.
Amamba amechukua.
Secretary General.
Si ndio Secretary General. Hiyo haifai sana.
Even Wavinya was taken. The Secretary General is also male, and they had even taken her to court.
Taken Wavinya to court. Unaona? So I think we are not well organized to capture important positions in political parties, and therefore electioneering time will find us weak. And there is another weakness. This I discovered during the time I was campaigning. Most of our young women, hawa wenye watoto wawili watatu kwa mguu, hawa hawanaga kura. Bwana akishachukua kura, nasema na sasa si mzee atapiga kura, hiyo natosha tu. Na sasa hata kwetu sisi tunagundua hawa hata ID hawana. ID iko moja ndani ya nyumba na ni ya bwana, na hiyo ndio wanatumia. Akitaka simu ndiye anachukua, anaenda naye, ana register simu yake. Anapoka, hello, how are you? Fine. Maneno kwisha. But we have to get them out to take their cards and IDs and voters cards. Civic education is very critical, I must say. In all these things we are doing, without civic education, we are heading nowhere. I was forgetting about that. That is another issue which will make a difference.
And which the government does not want.
They will want. What are they doing out there now? Are they not offering the same education we talked about? Have you ever seen in the past a president going around looking for votes? Halafu. Si sasa ni civic education. That has to come. They cannot do without it. Caucuses, organizing seminars, workshops, all this sharpen the minds of the voters and the people and the women. Therefore, you need to uphold the issue of civic education cannot be killed. A country that stops its people from learning or getting informed issues, information, so that they make informed decisions, is dead. It's dead kabisa. Because civic education is the only way you can choose a good leader from. Because you are choosing because you know he is able, you know he can do it. Lakini otherwise, people will just be bought, get money and go and vote. And elect any Dick, Tom and Harry. There was a time I went to Nakuru to meet women professionals. And they told me, what is good in politics? Like now Nakuru here, all our councillors are illiterate. All our leaders here do not even know what. Look at the sewage system. Look at the medical institution. Look at this. Look at the roads. And I said, you are all here professionals. I said, how many of you are medical doctors? They raised their hand. And how many of you are lawyers? Here we are. How many nurses do we have here? Here we are. What about engineers? Here we are. I say, so what? What stops you from getting out of your houses and going for those jobs? It does not make a difference whether you are a lawyer, you are a doctor, but you are a councillor. You are leading and heading and helping people with their issues and problems. You have your doctorate, you have your certificate, okay? Yeah? But service is a different thing. You know you are an engineer, you know how important drainage system is to the people. You know you are an engineer, you know why there should be good roads to minimize accidents and the cost of maintaining our vehicles, and so on and so on and so on. You are the right people to get out of your cocoons and go and run for those posts. Wakasema, ni kumbe. Mimi namwambia kabisa, mimi nawaambia nyinyi. And this is a challenge. And you know the following year, 2 of them were elected.
Wow.
Nakuru. Yeah. Wow. I was so happy. And they called me.
Which year was that?
This was 97.
Oh, 97. So 2 professionals were elected after now that interaction?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, mimi nilikuwa mkali. Kasema usije hapa ukiongea namna hiyo. Ati look at what they are not doing anything.
What are you doing yourself?
What about you? Who said you could not be a doctor and be elected as an MP?
Yes, true.
Huh?